What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is part 2 of a Rotary Swap Miata build. Just want to give a little shout out to Josh Castella. He has a YouTube channel that goes in depth of how to do the swap. Now for my video, I'm just going to make it pretty simple that anybody can do, and I'll show you where to cut and all that stuff. So on this episode, we're going to cut the firewall of the engine bay and get it ready for the engine. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is make sure you got all the brake line, fuel line, and clutch line out of the way for the area that we're going to cut. So really all you have to do is notch a piece off of here and go up a little bit higher off of this spot right here, about 2 inches higher. And if you are going turbo, I recommend that you cut this side as well. If you're going naturally aspirated, you only need to notch a little over here and a little right here. So in my case, I'm going to cut this off completely, go up higher about 2 inches off of here, and then cut this side completely. Just in case I'm going turbo in the future, it's already done, so I don't have to worry about it later. Okay, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but this line right here is my cut line. And I'm going to cut about this high right here across and that right there. All that's going to cut straight down to about right here on both sides. And after I cut this side, I'm going to bend this metal upward and weld a piece into this spot right here. Before we cut the firewall, make sure you clear everything off this side so it won't get damaged. Okay, now that I've finished cutting the other side of the firewall, I'm going to make my life easier and raise this tunnel a little bit higher. So what I'm going to do is cut inward about 10 to 12 inch more, and then pull the panel upward and then weld it together to the new cut line. Okay, now let's take a look at the cut. As you can see, I cut it as straight as possible, so it makes it easier to weld later on. And comparing this side to this side, this area right here is sticking out a little bit more, so I have to trim that as well. So on the firewall side right here, what I did was I cut like a slit going right here and across, then all slit going down about 12 inch. And then what I'm going to do is cut the front piece out about 2 to 3 inch deep, just because this panel right here is going to be hard to try to bend that to weld into here. So what I'm going to do instead is just cut this piece off and then weld a new panel instead. So I'm going to do that right now. Before we can weld the new panel in, we're going to have to clean up all the edges to get all the paint off of it. So I'm using a die grinder, and then once I finish cleaning it up, I'm going to patch the panel in. Okay, so now I'm ready to cut the patch panel. As you can see, this flap right here is going to go up and weld into this piece right here, but I need about 1 inch or 2 that I have to cut to patch that up. And the easiest way to figure it out is to use a cardboard or a poster board. I'm just going to use the poster board, trim it to size, line it up, and then I'll use this as a template to cut my sheet metal. Then I'll weld it on. Okay, so I already stuck a piece of cardboard paper to where the patch panel is supposed to be. So let me zoom in so you can see better right there. So what I did was shine a light source to that panel, and what I'm going to do is use the light source to trace it. So it's like an easy way to figure out where to cut. And I'm going to show you the inside real quick. There's the inside, and if you look at the cardboard poster board, you can see the light shining right through it, and that's where you want to trace it to cut the new patch panel. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is push this panel upward. What I'm going to do is weld this to this, and I need a patch panel, which I already cut, which is this piece right here. So this goes in between that 2 spots, like so. And what I do have is this magnet right here, kind of hold it in place a little bit while I tack weld it. So that's the plan, is to get that piece first, and then I'll do the side right after that, then I'll do the edge right here. Okay, here's my patch panel. Shaped it to the size as close as possible. And it lines up pretty good. Not perfect. And what I'm going to do is just hammer it a little bit. And then I'm just going to tack weld it from the other side, and then I'll do the other side off camera, but the process should be exactly the same thing. Okay, now I'm ready to make a patch panel on this side. So I got a piece of paper I fold in half, so I'm going to try my best to keep it one sheet. Then I'm going to use a Sharpie to kind of trace these lines from the back side. Same thing on this side. I'm going to trace the back side of it. So there you go. And I'm going to just kind of draw a line right here. Okay, here I got my bending tool right here. I'm going to bend the metal upward. And if you don't have a bending tool, what you could use is a metal edge like right here. Bend it up and hit it with a hammer. That should give you the same result. Okay, here's my patch panel. Now I'm ready to tack weld this in place. As you can see, it lines up pretty good. And then if it's hanging out a little bit, you could always grind it off later on. But most important is just to keep the top part flush. So I'm going to tack weld this real quick. Now I'm going to tack weld this side also. I already cut the panel, so it should line up pretty good. As soon as I tack weld, I'm going to hammer it into place. Okay, so I already cut this small little patch right here already, but I gotta bend it to shape, so I'm gonna whack on the hammer and just get it into shape. Okay, so it's been a few days now. A few more things we have to do to wrap this up. I got my wire brush right here with a drill. So we need this to clean up all the wells and the paint. I have some glass cleaner and some wipe to clean it down. And then we're gonna spray etching primer on all the bare metal so it won't rust. And lastly, I got a seam sealer right here. So you wanna put seam sealer on all the wells so for any imperfection, it won't cause any corrosion or moisture in between there. So we're gonna apply all this right now. All right, guys, we're finally at the final stage. Once the seam sealer is dried up, you could spray paint on top of it. What I'm going to do is just spray a little bit more self-etching primer on top of it, and then worry about the paint later on in the build. And also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. There's more content about the Rotary build and also the B2000 soon. Let's take a look at the before and after.
ハイパースピードメディア